7 nights at Halas, what it is, what it do. Since Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis, know that we been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news. 7 nights at Halas.
Yo, what up, everybody? It is episode 240 of 79th and Halas, man. It is the end of the season. I felt like this season kind of went by fast a little bit. I just feel like I was at training camp a couple weeks ago, but now we are here towards the end of the super wild card weekend in the NFL. I'm gonna keep saying it that way. But the way how they pronouncing that shit on the commercials. Once again, the Bears will not be involved in this playoffs. They have not been involved for the last 4 years. But we are here, Scott and Flows. You know to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Flows Andolini at Barberchair. Scott, follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net. Follow 79th Halas, 79th and Halas. Subscribe to the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/Barberchair Network, man. We've got everything. Usually we have these episodes on the Patreon first. You know what I'm saying? Well, but today is a special occasion. So we wanted to go live with y'all one time. And we got a decent amount of things to get into. As you can see, the Patreon right there, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We're here. How you feeling, man?
Whatever.
No time. Look alive. We got people watching as we get ready to get this off. Let's start first off with, as the season's over. I think at the beginning of the season, we came in here, we gave our game prediction. I think both of us said 8-9 or the 7-10.
7-10.
I think 7-10. So I think we hit the nail on the head with our predictions. But I think it's the way that the Bears got 7-10 is why I don't feel like a lot of Bears fans have looked at this season as like progression, I guess you want to call it, because of, you can say they left 3 wins on the table, that this team should be 10-7, getting ready to, be in the playoffs this weekend. They should be part of this going on. So I feel like it's a different mood around Bears Twitter. This is the most, I think it's more anxious and most divided Bears Twitter has been ever. But what's your personal thoughts on just this whole season?
All lame niggas on their Twitter is all I see. Like I made a comment about something random. Dude, you're in the Fields coat. I'm like, I don't. What? I'm above such petty things. More than that, it's people are taking stands on what they think is the absolute best move, and are forgetting there's no such thing as football math. No such thing as, first of all, F. Jim Millen, that bum former GM who said he picked Caleb with Joe Burrow, Peyton Manning. That nigga was just wilder. I think he's a former Vikings general manager. No disrespect to him as a person.
That's why it's called former.
Seems a good reason why he's former.
Yeah.
Seems like he's former because he doesn't know what he's doing. It's one thing to say Caleb over Trevor Lawrence. I would disagree, whatever. But then you realize, why would you pick him over somebody who is as prolific as he was passing, also a national champion? Dude barely lost in college. I'm like, whatever. And then he said, oh, man, he's better than the nasty man was in college. I was like, he's a nasty man, but that's a lie. You can even go further. You say he's better than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow threw 60 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Shout out to Mikey in the chat.
That entire year, 60 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and demolished competition. Now, of course, it's like, oh, man, he played with all-pro wide receivers. Okay. What were they doing?
I've never heard of who he played with in college ever.
It's nasty. It's in college. Everybody cold. When you're a quarterback in college, if you consider good, you're getting 40 of them touchdowns. It don't matter who you got. It's college. And what were they doing the year before Joe Burrow? When Joe Burrow was there, when he wasn't as good, they weren't playing as good. I think he threw like 17 touchdowns or something like that, something low. But when he went to that next level, they went to the next level. That offense succeeded because of him. That's fine. Joe Burrow, he's better than Joe Burrow. He's better than Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck, you could say he didn't have him skill player. He did not. Yeah, literally. Andrew Luck, they won those amount of games because of Andrew Luck. Saying he's better than Andrew Luck is crazy. And Caleb just did not perform well against better competition this year. That's just really all it comes down to. And that's why I'm glad that I don't trust the box scores when it comes to deciding how good players are, how they do so in specific teams. I watched these games. And Scott, who is new to college football this year, is a
I watched every quarter of USC football this year.
Full-time fan. We sat there and watched, and I was like, this ain't good. I was like, he's not performing well.
I still got that Notre Dame game like in a loop in my head. Like that was terrible.
McCord torched Notre Dame, but whatever.
You said what?
Torch. I said, meanwhile, Kyle McCord torched Notre Dame. He didn't torch Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know about torching.
He had a good game. But I say all that to say.
So don't you kind of look at the resume of these guys saying it's a trust? Well, this is the thing. A lot of these draft analysts or draft scouts, a lot of them be wrong as hell. And I think they don't have the accountability. Nobody calls them out for it. Then there's some right, but some be wrong as hell. Even if you look at the ones who are like the all-time draft analysts, like you look at the Mel Kiper or Todd McShay, them niggas be wrong all the fucking time.
Kyle McCord had no touchdowns against Notre Dame.
Exactly.
It was a win.
Them niggas be wrong all the fucking time. So it's like, I'm not saying that their analysis isn't something that we should like look, but I trust my eyes and I trust the eyes of other people too. You look at other players. Generational is a word that just gets thrown too much. Am I saying that Caleb is not talented? No, I'm not saying that. He is ridiculously talented. And I do feel like in the
right. Caleb went 23 for 37, 199, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Yuck. So.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, I think in the right system, he can be great. But when have the Bears ever been the right system? You know what I'm saying? He said, boys doing the old HPJR tweet. We said he skimmed the box scores and already people watching. Yes, that's Twitter in a nutshell. That's Bears Twitter in a nutshell. That's Twitter in general. That's sports Twitter in a nutshell. But Caleb can be great. And he might be great here. We might be sitting here a year from now. Like, oh, we were some dumb motherfuckers. Look, this dude is generational. I'm just going off what I see. I think that, and one thing, if anybody who's new to 79th and Halas, we do have a rundown. We are not following that shit at all because I was going to end the show with the Caleb hype. But we're going to start with that shit right now.
I'll be honest, I didn't pay attention to it. Scott was sitting on the notes app. I was like,
yeah, I know you didn't look at it.
I saw it. I'm glad it doesn't show on notes that I looked. I was like, whatever. I'm just disgusted with you niggas. And I'm sorry, Scott. I have to take back over.
Go ahead.
It very well may be true that Caleb may legitimately be generational. It very well may be true. I say that to say because there's no such thing as football math. So it's even tough to say, oh, you don't know ball. You only tell someone they don't know ball when they say something crazy like, what was it? They say, oh, this
like
dude
Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Peyton Manning.
But that's not even that. That's still opinion. Because Caleb still has a Heisman. It's opinion. Because I can still say you the best Heisman season was Troy Smith, Ohio State 06. Is it true? No. But it's still my opinion. What was the dude who said, it was Chris Jones? He said Chris Jones.
Oh, no, I shouldn't have.
Steve, what up?
On BD. No, we don't do none of that over here, sir.
What you call it? The dude on Twitter who said Chris Jones was Aaron Donald money. And he showed the nigga with 10.5 sacks.
10.5 sacks for a DT?
That's why I said
it's insane.
That's why I used the rare term, you don't know ball. That's all. You just don't understand the sport well enough that you think it's normal for interior linemen to have TJ Watt numbers. Like, that don't happen. And Chris Jones had more sacks than Aaron Donald this year. I digress.
But is Justin Fields going to lead us to multiple Super Bowl titles? I mean, I think it's a question for both. I've said this. I'm not going to hold you. I've said this on Twitter. I've said this on 79th Halas. I do not want to be Ryan Poles. This situation, it's a 50-50 toss-up. I can see it going either way. I can see the Bears running back with Justin Fields, and Justin is what we think he can be, and maybe Caleb goes to win. Caleb's great, and both teams win. Or maybe there's a situation where Justin's great, Caleb goes to win. He's the bust that some people believe he is, with a non-generational talent that some people think that he isn't. Or the Bears can keep Justin, and Caleb goes crazy, and Justin's still doing the same shit he's doing now. That's a
Justin may very well be holding that ball like this.
You know, it's a possibility that a lot of Bears fans don't want to accept, even think about. Maybe this just is who Justin is.
Yeah,
that I feel like that's something. And if we want to be 100% real, I said this. I'm not gonna hold you yesterday. How do we know? Like, if there was any other quarterback, you're like, but the receivers, but the offensive line. We only give these excuses to Justin because we love Justin. If there was some other fan base saying that shit, we'd be like, no, that nigga's ass.
I have to differ with you.
Okay, good.
We only say that because we watch him the most. Because I have seen fans of other teams do this same thing. Like even with Sam Howell, I've seen fans say, "Nah, man, he's just not in the right situation." Everybody is going to cop pleas for their starting quarterback, unless their quarterback is just doo-doo. If their quarterback shows a little bit of promise, like Sam Howell had like what 2-3 TD games, no picks, maybe one, and it was like, "Oh, that's there. He's there. It's there." So everybody does it. Who's telling the truth or who not? People did that with Brock Purdy last year. Turns out Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. Like it's so random. I think for me personally, the game of football at the professional level is 90% just mental, because you have the talent to be there if you're drafted anywhere, especially in the first 4 rounds. You have the talent to be in the National Football League. From there, it seems it's the mentality. You know, Bears fans talk about, oh man, you know, Justin. I think it's his mind is ruined. He's ruined mentally, and I think a lot of it just goes into the mentality of it. Yes, Justin might end up sucking. He might never get higher than what he is now. He may be just that, like, man, if he just would have did this, he would have been up here. I don't know. If I'm going to look rationally, I think it's that's also a shout out to Orlo Ortiz talking about what Herb Howard said. Caleb better be a Hall of Famer if you're passing on 3 first-round picks. Yeah, yes. That's another thing you got to look at. You're passing on potentially getting yourself a starting wide receiver, starting tight end, starting lineman.
Those guys hold the ball longer than Riley Reed. Wow. Okay.
That's nuts.
That is insane.
That's nuts. That's nuts. But
so Justin was coached up to play scared. He needs an OC who's gonna let him sling it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the biggest thing to tell how good a player is to let them throw the ball. And this was his 3rd year. He's going into his 4th year. You can't handhold. And if Gessie was still here, they say we're getting a quarterback, I'd be like, they're going to ruin Caleb, because you can't hold a hand. Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions the game and then came back next time through 2 interceptions, no pick. He kept throwing. You have to let people make mistakes. If you're at a job and you make a mistake and then your boss takes you away from what you were doing, you're never going to excel in your career and your workspace. And so, yes, I agree wholeheartedly. The Bears, Justin may not pan out. You will never hear me. People say, "Oh, me and Scott are Fields fans." No. We cover them, but we want the Bears to succeed.
I am a Fields fan, but I'm a Bears fan number 1.
Oh, I'm a fan of his as a Buckeye. Yeah, as a Buckeye, I want him to succeed. It's like when I see C.J. Stroud. If you follow my IG, you see me post stuff about C.J. Stroud, because he was my quarterback when he was at Ohio State. I love the kid. I want him to see him succeed. But it's another thing with football math. I saw Caleb every year at Ohio State. When he took over for Justin, I hated his game so much for the majority of his career.
You did. You really
did.
Because
I was like, he's been a little indecisive. He didn't take the play that was there. He wants the home run. And then you just saw his meteoric rise. Then he played against Georgia and just smoked Georgia.
Bro, QB is all that matters. You got to keep driving and QB to hit. It feels to do with him the conversation. But see, this thing about quarterback conversation is not that cut and dry. You know what I'm saying?
Cut and dry.
It's not that cut and dry. It's not like the NBA or Major League Baseball or even National Hockey League, where a player gets Connor Bedard. He don't need a system. That nigga just cold. You know what I'm saying? Luis Robert don't need a system. That nigga just cold. Even it took that nigga a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's situations. If you truly think, am I still mad at the Bears passing on Patrick Mahomes? 100%. But you truly think that Patrick Mahomes will be the Patrick Mahomes that he is now under John Fox and Matt Nagy? No. I mean, we're seeing it right now in Kansas City that he's struggling because of, yes, he has bad receiving core, which we've been saying about Justin. Like, you know, DJ was the only NFL actual receiver out there last Sunday. And then on top of that, he's got Matt Nagy calling plays. Last year, when everything happened, I think my power almost went out in this motherfucker. What the So last year, when Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator, is when things started going better for them. They won the championship. When they switched Matt Nagy in there, that's when you start to see the difference and why the play calling's been different pretty much. So I just don't think it's that cut and dry. It's situations that matter with that.
Football is a team sport. A team sport's almost the ultimate. I'm sorry. Not Connor Bedard don't need a left winger or right winger who cold, and he doesn't need a center with him. He can be cold on his own because it is not a matter of will my lineman guard for me? Will this happen? Football is really about the team that you're with. For instance, Tom Brady. For so long, they said Tom Brady was a product of the Belichick system. Tom Brady leaves, and they're like, "Oh man, Belichick's a product of the Brady system." No, they needed each other to work out. Tom Brady needed a good defense. In addition to that, Tom Brady needed good skill players around him. And then, of course, he goes to Tampa Bay, has great receivers, has a great running game, has a great defensive crew behind, a great defense behind him. In order for you to succeed at the highest level, you need all of those things. For instance, Dan Marino for his career had solid skill players, defense every now and then, and that's probably why he never won it all. Joe Montana had all of that. That's why he won a lot. Aaron Rodgers, inconsistent. He had certain skill players. I remember when Jordy Nelson would torch the Bears. And there's that was Greg Jennings still? I don't remember. But he had skill players, had a running game quite a few years, had a defense, and then when you started getting inconsistent, those things stopped happening. In order for you to win, in order for you to be successful, in order for you to get the highest achievements in football, you're going to need a team behind you. And with Justin, you said, if he was a guy we would just hit. It's just not that simple. We're also not going to lie to you and say he is the guy. That's just not really how the game of football is played. We don't know is the problem. We don't know. And I understand how it can look like an excuse. You see the fact, but I look at it logically. He was with a lame duck, Matt Nagy, his first year. I'm not 100% sure what was going to happen, especially when he wasn't even designed to be the QB that year. He just wasn't. He had whatever rookie year. Cool. You look at last year. Last year, his first time full-time starting. The worst skill players you have ever seen. And we don't even have to lie about it. Terrible, terrible skill players. He had an okay, 17 passing touchdowns, 11 picks, 1,000 yards rushing, 2,000 yards passing. He had a solid year, okay. And then you look at the next year, this year, you saw promise, you saw lack of promise. I'm not 100% sure what he will be. The issue that we have is the quarterbacks within the draft just are not good enough that I think you should pass on them. But if they did, whatever.
Now, in my time now, just a second ago, did you comment on this comment right here? Hold on. On this one. Hold on. Keep going. Because I thought
if that's true, then why 16 of the last 20 Super Bowls won by 5 QBs?
Because here we go. Great. This is the one I want to talk about. Generational QBs are capable.
Cap.
Bullshit.
Cap. There's no such thing. Name me a generational QB that overcame that.
There's no
never
such
real
thing.
Generational, never overcame it.
Yeah.
Brady generational had a good team around him. Peyton Manning had 2 good organizations behind him. Let me know when a generational QB overcomes generational aptitude. There's no such thing. He's not Jesus. That would never happen. You have to give me an example. You're gonna name Pat Mahomes. That's not an organization. They also won.
They were 12-5 the year he got drafted. Everything that Tom Brady had the greatest coach of all time. Peyton Manning was in a great offensive system, and by the way, Peyton Manning didn't come out firing. Nope. The nigga led the league in interceptions for like 2 years in a row.
28 and 27.
Peyton Manning wasn't really Peyton Manning until Tony Dungy got there. Like that's why it's situated. It's the NFL's different, bro. Like football's different. You need things around you, and this is not even talking about Caleb or Justin anymore, because those are 2 different situations. People who say that, oh well, you're taking a risk by throwing Justin out there again in year 4. You're taking a risk by thinking you finna win with a rookie goddamn quarterback. Can it happen? Sure. The Joe Burrows don't happen all the time. The CJ Stroud, that's some shit nobody saw coming. So is it possible that Caleb can be one of them guys? Sure. It's a chance, but it's not a high chance. There's a chance I can win the goddamn lotto tomorrow. It's not a high chance. So that's why I think we look at it's all about situations. And the reason why I would be concerned about Caleb is because the Bears are not a good situation, at least not at the moment. We'll see what they do with this offensive coordinator search. There's a couple names that's been floating out there already.
Also, on a random note, Chicago Public Schools, if you don't close these damn schools,
Now,
when you close, my school closes. I'm so tired of this. I'm sorry, Brandon.
You know that's not gonna happen.
I know.
But what's your overall? We can talk about this, but let's get back to our order. What's just your thoughts on how the season has gone this year, like compared to what you had expectation wise, if you had any?
Say it again.
What was your overall thoughts of just the season in general before we get into the press conference and things like that?
I encourage a few people who first of all, thank you all for the question, and I want to iterate. If we disagree, that's perfectly fine. If we disagree, that is okay, 100%. Me and Scott, first of all, nothing we're going to tell you here is, our sources are telling us this is going to happen. We don't know. We're guessing. And then when it comes to football, there's no such thing as football, Matt. You could be generally right. You could say, hey, generational QBs overcome it. Maybe you're right. I disagree with you, but that's just my opinion. In terms of the season overall, Scott, now like somebody's about to break in. In terms of the season.
No, because I thought my power went out for a second, but it was just my cable box restarting. And I had to turn. I don't want to be looking at a blue TV in my background. It's gonna throw me off.
Fair. But in terms of the Bears season, I like to look at stuff with a little bit of, nuance to it. It was an improvement. And that sucks to hear. Especially, if I'm looking at it from a fan perspective, it's only a good season if you're a playoff team or better. Especially when you have an organization that's as storied as the Bears. That being said, I look at the basics. They were 3 wins last year. They improved by 4 games this year. It is a success, or it is, sorry, not a success. It is an improvement if there's another improvement next year. If next year they're 11 wins, I would say this is a trajectory of a team that got better. That's what I would say. As of right now, it's just an improvement. And I think the biggest thing, and I'm going to look at it right now, is I'm looking at Dan Campbell's trajectory as a coach. And to come from the last season, how many wins did they win towards the end last year, if you remember?
Well, they started off 0-6, and I think they finished 8, 9, 8 or some shit like that. Remember, they had a chance to make the playoffs on that Green Bay game, but Seattle won.
So, yeah, exactly. They were coming from Matt Patricia's 3 years, 6-10, 3-12, 5-11. Nothing's happening. Dan Campbell takes over. Some roster changes are happening. They're 3-13. That next season is when they start to shell off some wins. And so they start those first games and they're 1-4. And they lose one more. They're 1-6. And then they go 3 in a row, lost 3 in a row, lost 2 in a row to finish 9-8. They did not make the playoffs, but the mood around it was, wow, we just went over 500 for the first time in quite some time. In fact, the last time they had went over 500 was 2017. And before that, 2017, when it was 9-7. So you're hovering right around there. You're thinking this is the last time, and the coach that they had there was freaking Jim Caldwell. And so you're realizing that there's some promise here. Because Jim Caldwell, if I'm not mistaken, led them to a playoff berth. Lost in a wild card, but led them to a playoff berth. Yep, they were 11-5. They had 2 playoff games with him. So you look at it as, wow, there's an improvement. Going to the 3rd year under him, and what has happened? They won the NFC North. They're in the playoffs. That's how you can say it was a success. It's tough, though, because I never thought Matt Eberflus, I can't say that. Those first 4 weeks, I was like, ooh, he about to get fired. But if I look toward the end of the season, I did not have a thought in my mind that said they were going to fire him. The only thought was when Scott gave me the, what's his name? Ricky Renteria, Joe Madden situation, where it's like, you just had an incredible coach. Ricky Renteria didn't do a bad job, but you got to hit on somebody better. Jim Harbaugh was never an option. I laugh when Ryan Post said he's the coach of Michigan. Everybody knows you've been trying to look at him. It's part of the process. But it was a home run from the get-go. So my thought was, yeah, they're probably going to stick with him. He improved his win total. In addition to improving his win total, his offense looked somewhat better than last year.
Real quick?
Yeah.
I got a comment on something else. They said the New England Patriots were historically terrible until they got Tom Brady. That's bullshit. They went to the fucking Super Bowl.
They're totally terrible until they got. Yeah, what do you mean?
They're terrible now. They went to the Super Bowl in 1996. They were 10-6 in 1997. They were 9-7 the year Tom Brady got drafted. They were 8-8, and then they were 5-11 in Brady's first year? Okay, that's not terrible. That's not historically terrible. You know what's historically terrible? The team that we were just about, the fucking Detroit Lions. That's historically terrible. So they already had a good foundation because their head coach was on Bill Parcells, and then it came in and ushered in with Bill Belichick after the little Pete Carroll 1 year fiasco. Yeah. So no, they've always had a decent, organization, at least under the Robert Kraft era.
They have had pretty much nothing but losses in the playoffs, and even when they got to the Super Bowl. Like the 80s, I'm pretty sure they spent the first half of it like
the Bears played them in 85. That was the Patriots.
10-6, like then 2-14, 5. Then they won 10 games again, then 9-8. So they spent the latter half of the 80s as a good team. They opened up the 90s the same way bad, and then they went to the playoffs. No, actually, no. They didn't go. They went to the playoffs twice or 3 times in the 90s. Let me look this up. And then, of course, you get to what Tom Brady. Here we go. So I found it. So in 1980, they were 10-6, 2-14. I was right. Then 5-4.
Oh, hold on, past our 1950. Man, get the fuck out of here! Like, we're not talking about 1959. We're talking. You said before Tom Brady. We're not doing in the history of the franchise.
What constitutes?
That's bullshit, man. Come up with better shit.
What constitutes is a historically bad franchise? If I'm going back to the 1980s, I'm 33 years old. I was born in 1990, so I'm going 10 years beyond that. That's 43 years. Does that still count?
No.
Because if you're talking about, in 1960 they were terrible up until 1976. Okay, but the majority of their time as a team they've done okay. So what happens? What's historically bad? And so I think that's just
you're trolling now. You're trolling now.
You're trolling.
Moving on.
You don't have a
you own some bullshit. Moving on. Let me get my thoughts. Did you give your thoughts on it already?
So I say, like, and then of course you get in the 90s and they made and they started going. They went from 6-10, 2-14, 5-11, 10-6, 6-10, 11-5, 10-6, 9-8, 8-8, and they went to the playoffs 3 of those times. Went to the Super Bowl in '96. I just want to so. That is, they went to the Super Bowl for both times in those decades, but they're historically bad. Moving on.
Yeah, you just want some attention. Moving on. My opinion on this season, I thought that it was a cool season. Like, it was improvement. You know what I'm saying? That you went from a team that had 3 wins, you had 7, you had a chance to win. But I think it's the way that it happened is why a lot of Bears fans don't look at it as improvement. Like, you started off the season. First of all, week 1. Let's talk about week 1 because that's where the shit started. Week 1, I remember getting to the stadium, getting ready to walk into the press box. There was so much fucking hype. Like, from the minute that the DJ Moore trade happened, rightfully so. Training camp, I'm an NFL Network, was over there a couple times doing training camp, and people were hyped. And this is the first time that we'd be able to play Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers without a Hall of Fame quarterback in almost 30 years. So it was a little bit of an opportunity there. And they came out, and it was a close game for like the first half, but it wasn't something that was, what it was supposed to be. They really got their asses kicked in that game. So you come off and you completely come out not prepared against a team that's been beating your ass forever. So then you remember, what did we say? I think at the beginning of the season, we said that they had to go 2-0 before this season got onto a dark start because they needed to win in Tampa Bay. They did not win in Tampa Bay. They looked so bad in Tampa Bay. I started having the same thoughts about Justin Fields I had him against that Houston game in 2022. Oh, dude might not be it. Remember, Joe, we were sitting there watching the game. We were yelling at the TV, throw the fucking football. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were doing that multiple times. So, and then you start off on a 14-game losing streak, which is the 14-game losing streak, which was the worst in Chicago Bears history. If it's the worst in Chicago Bears history and this team has been out that damn long, that's a problem. So it started off so bad and then it got better.
Because as of now, the Bears are a historically bad franchise. Their heyday was in the NFL championship before the Super Bowl existed. They had 1 Super Bowl after that, and they suck since. That's historically bad for you. Sorry.
Anyway, so that's just pretty much what it is. So when you get Montez Sweat, they start playing better. I think even before that, the turning point to me was the Washington game, where Justin looked good. Him and DJ finally connected for the first time that year. They're looking in sync like we thought they were going to look. And then, honestly, you can even say the offense turned around in that Denver game. because the offense looked good. It's just the defense decided to get it off. So it was like different peaks and valleys of this season. And, they finished off strong in that little, part towards the end. But then you got to take like a look back at it. Like you had 3 games. Now, you know how they put a percentage of what a team is going to win each game? 99% chance of winning the Detroit game in Detroit, the Broncos game, and then the Cleveland game. And they're the first team in NFL history to have a 99% chance to win those games and lost all 3. Those were the difference in the season. If they win those 3, they're going to the playoffs right now. If they even win 2 of those 3, they're going to the playoffs right now. So the way it happened, and then remember what we said before the Packer game, the last podcast we did when they beat the Falcons, and we were like, oh, well, this the trajectory looks good because they're playing better. You went to Green Bay. It was a repeat of week 1. If you want to be, and I'm a glass half full person, but if you really look at that game and say, oh, we only lost by 8, no, nigga, they got their asses whooped. The defense wasn't even close on some of those coverages, man. I don't know what the fuck was going on. There was a whole entire quarter. In the third quarter, they did not allow Justin Fields to throw the football. So for me personally, it was an okay season. Like there was some improvement, but it was a lot of the same bullshit to me. And that's why it leads into the year-end press conference. This was funny to me because one, I told everybody in October, try to tell y'all months ago that Matt Eberflus is only a lame duck coach to Bears fans. Yeah. Like, and on top of that, I wouldn't be shocked if we hear news about a contract extension over the next couple weeks. If I'm being 100% real about it, would not shock me whatsoever. I'm not hearing that from nobody. Nobody has told us that contract extension is coming.
We're not on Twitter telling you we hear some things.
We hear something in the building. I don't have a Halas Hall ID. I never been to fucking Soldier Field in the press box, but people are telling me things. They don't even tell people who actually been on the TV for 20 years anything. But you know something, Mr. Random motherfucker on Twitter.
I say the folks who I at least on the beat who seem to have a little bit more of the know seem to be Brad Biggs, Dan Weeder, my guy, really rocks with him. When they say something about I believe them. It's tough.
If Brad Biggs don't know nothing, you niggas don't know nothing. It's just that damn simple.
Brad don't know, you don't know.
Biggs get all the scoops. So Biggs don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing, man. So cut the fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? But what I said in October was the feeling around the building was he was not going to go anywhere. It was between a conversation I had with Herb Howard and Adam Johns. And Adam Johns also put it in his article in The Athletic that same week and also mentioned it on his podcast with Adam Hogue.
So and then talking to folks that I know within the Bears, they, of course, I tell you, Halas is one of the most tight-lipped groups I've ever heard. It's not like people, sources come from everywhere. Somebody might know on a social media team, might know this. A person might know George, all that, all that type of stuff. The Bears are very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. But the people I knew within the organization were like, I don't, it doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. Things haven't changed enough for it to seem like he's going anywhere. But of course, I was not going to report unless I know for sure. But Scott said he did.
Yeah, I was like, I before I tweeted it, I talked to many people. And even when I tweeted it, I didn't tweet it as a report. I'm not telling you it was a scoop I had. No, it was not a scoop I had. I said the feeling around the building is that he was going to stay. So fast forward 3 months now, when all y'all had y'all Jim Harbaugh, Abby's, and, and getting hyper, it was never going to happen for multiple reasons. One, Jim Harbaugh wants too much control, and rightfully so. He's going to want more money than the Bears have ever paid a coach. And this little nugget I found out a couple of days ago, which I didn't know. Shout out my man, Mikey. I'm not going to hold you. He said that Kevin Warren and Jim Harbaugh do not like each other. Them niggas wanted to give each other hands. So if I'd have known that, I definitely wouldn't even consider it. So with that coming into the offseason, I already knew, okay, the best thing the Bears probably going to get is that Lou Getsy is going to get fired. And I think why Bears fans got excited is because it took a long time. And I don't even know why you got excited about that, because we don't even have to look further. We don't even have to look that far to remember the last time we had to wait that long. The last time we had to wait that long was when the Matt Nagy shit in 2021. They were like, oh, well, it's been a couple days. There's no way you bring Matt Nagy back. And they brought Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace back. So this is just stuff that the Bears organization does. So the actual press conference, let's get to the actual press conference. it was long as hell. It was all together. It was about an hour and a half press conference. Flus and Ryan Poles spoke for an hour, and then Kevin Warren spoke for 30 minutes. I will say this about Flus and Ryan Poles. Flus, I think Flus was talking like a nigga who got job security. Like that's just pretty much what it is. Like, and he just you know, it wasn't just all Flusisms, as I like to call him. He was actually giving unique points and shit like that. And Ryan Poles, man, I like Ryan Poles. Like I always said, don't put GMs on a pedestal, and I don't. I criticized them with the first move, the Larry Ogunjobi move. I was the only one on Bears Twitter legitimately criticizing him. Everybody wanted my ass. But I do like Ryan Poles. And I trust Ryan Poles as much as I can trust a general manager. But I felt that he did a good enough job of keeping the door open for a Justin Fields return, whether you think that's going to happen or not. And he kept the door open for the next quarterback. And pay attention to what I said, the next quarterback. Not 100% sure that it's Caleb Williams, because he had a lot of key words in there that made me think that, Caleb Williams has some stuff he has to work on. Now, his pops has a lot of LeVar Ball in him. He likes to be all in the videos. We don't know if Caleb is mentally prepared for Chicago. You can say whatever you want to say about Justin Fields on the field, but Justin Fields knows how to deal with the drama that comes with a city that the Bears are the number one. And the Bears are the number one team. Like, the Bears were the number one team last year, 3 wins, and they'll be in the talk of the city. So you have a hungry fan base with a position that the franchise has never gotten right. So that's extra scrutiny. Yeah. And on top of that, if Caleb gets drafted, the pressure that he's going to have is going to be the biggest of any quarterback coming into a situation that I can remember in a long ass time. So you need somebody who's going to be able to handle that, somebody who's going to be able to handle the media. And also to grow up a little bit too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say character. I really don't like the word character, because unless you actually got like arrested or some shit, which Caleb has had no interactions with law enforcement or anything like that. We haven't heard anything wild about Caleb besides painting his fucking nails. Not there's anything wrong with that. So that's
just what people try to make a controversy. Oh, he paid his nails, he can't be leading. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that he left the door open for a new quarterback or Justin Fields. I think he played that very well, and I love what I had heard from him. Flukes was whatever. The Kevin Warren press conference was funny to me because once I tuned out after 10 minutes. I see how that nigga got that job. He gave all the CEO TED Talk words. Like, it was just over the top. I thought we were talking about football. But I get why he got the job, because if I was hiring, I probably would have hired that motherfucker too from the words he was saying. But overall, it's a press conference. A press conference. We've said this before, Joe. Even when people thought that Flus won the press conference, remember when him and Ryan Poles got hired? Oh, he won the press conference, which is something that
weren't we like, no?
Yeah, both of us were like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't mean anything. You got to actually put in the work. So before you actually give me your opinion on it, I wanted to ask you this, because we've been asking this question on. I'm not gonna hold you. What is your percentage faith level in just Ryan Poles and getting this decision right, no matter if he goes just a new quarterback? Like, how much faith do you have in him?
None.
You have zero.
Nope.
Okay.
I got none. And it's, once again, it's sorry, my colleagues are trying to figure out. I'm also, if you don't know, I'm a high school teacher, so we're trying to figure out if we're going to work tomorrow because there's a winter storm. I have none. And it's not because of Poles. It's 4 years on the Bears beat. If I've told you, I've become the Black Dan Weeder. And I say that because people like to accuse Dan of being pessimistic. It's not that Dan's pessimistic.
Yeah, you really have become the Black Dan Weeder.
It's not that he's become pessimistic. He's just been around the Bears long enough. I mean, it's infuriating. I'm like, if fans were to sit back in the press box and just chill for a little bit and see how it feels, it's when they ran 5 screens in a row, which was some of the worst football I've ever seen in my life. We just had to say, that's 5 in a row? And people were just saying, another day of Bears football. Nothing like it. That's that classic Bears football. And after they lose, it was like, yeah, but and so after Bears lose, like, oh man, what about that 10-yard screen though? What about that 10-yard pass play? It's because they're used to failure. So what do you expect them to do? And so that's how I react now. No, I don't have any faith. The Bears are guilty until proven innocent to me. And they're guilty of being a terrible team. And if they succeed, I'm like, wow. And so when you talk about somebody like the Patriots being a historically bad franchise. Okay, your opinion, I respect it. Are they now? No, because they hired the right people. Even though they have a down year, hired the right people, and what happened? The right people then led the organization to success, and the Patriots have been the most successful. Now Jim or Jimson. Now, let me follow you on Twitter. Way. That's an incredible question. Poles seems to hit on everything after the first. Oh, though Darnell Wright is a very, very good pick. Of course, people like, oh, I love Jalen Carter. I really, really rock with Darnell Wright. No, that's my answer. No, not yet. I'm not confident on them first round picks. If he were to get maybe 2 firsts, 3 firsts, and then some seconds and third, I'm like, that second and third, he gonna make bank. But that first, I don't know. But he hasn't had enough time. It's his second year, so we'll see. But I will say he has hit on everything. He's hit on.
Follow me and he blocked me. Yeah, I probably did. I block a lot of people.
That's right, I do. See, I'm sorry. I'm a good guy, and I'm pretty sure we have insightful conversations. I'm going to get Scott to unblock you. Trust me. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to make this right, Jimmer. I won't let him do you like this. I won't let this coward win.
We're going to do right.
But, yeah, I would yes or no. That's a better answer. Yes.
So I was making fun of the socks. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely unblock you now. I don't like them niggas either.
See? Apathy. We don't care about them.
Send me your @ name. I'll unblock you.
We don't care anymore.
But so what was your thoughts on the actual press conference, though, from things that you did see from it?
I see what you were talking about, Kevin Warren. That's that. Wow. Okay. I trust you to lead. Alex, brother, how are our Cubs? That's how terrible I am with the Sox right now. That's how terrible. But when it comes to Kevin Warren, that was big CEO talking. I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna lead this company until on the NASDAQ. Like that's all I thought. With Kevin, with Ryan Poles and with Matt Eberflus, GM speak, coach speak. But I hate that that's the bare standard. Now, of course, there's a fine line. GMs are gonna come out and say, well, nigga, I sucked. I need to do better. They're not gonna do that. They also shouldn't say, well, they shouldn't do the Nagy and say we have to find out the whys, execute on the whys. Like that, it should be a balance. You should say there are things we need to improve on, specifically this. When it comes to drafting, I need to just, I'm going to try to work on this. But also we have to figure out how to work together. Like that's fine. Bears, unfortunately, go too much to that coach speech. It's not as bad as Nagy, but it's close to where that was. Nagy used to just irritate everybody with those whys.
Jimmer, you were unblocked. We do special things here at 79th and Halas. You were unblocked.
I said it to say, I thought it was a good press conference, Kevin Warren.
Black Dan Reader and Black Larry David, yes. That's what
I thought it was a good press conference, but, and I also realized there's not really much they can tell you. If their goal is to keep Fields, they can't tell anybody their goal is to keep Fields, because then why would anybody trade up with you?
Yeah, that's another
unless you're the team under the second, you have no reason to trade up with them. You're the second pick. You're like, I ain't trading up with you. I'm gonna keep my stuff and get Caleb. But if you don't let them know you're going to take a QB, it's like I have to leapfrog you for that pick. I'll do anything. That type of deal. So I know it's tough for them to gauge what's happening. In addition to that, they said they're they're dotting all their I's, crossing all their T's. See, they may be. Because that's coach speech. I don't know. As of right now, I'd say it was solid. I prefer Kevin Warren's more than anything. Now I'm interested to see, because remember, the Bears have been under the eye of Ted Phillips for the past 2 decades.
Oh, yeah.
This is Kevin Warren's time. And so, as much as George said he's not a football guy. That's fine.
And George wasn't at the press conference, which was new.
Which I like. If you're going to give Kevin Warren, who does know football, you want to give him the keys, you stay out of his way. You're just an owner. You come in when it goes so bad, I have to fire that guy. Outside of that, you step away. And to not see him there was a good sign, which is why I liked Kevin Warren's interview. I liked his press conference. Ryan Poles, and it's funny now that there's a little bit more, I feel like Ryan Poles starts to walk carefully in his speeches now.
Oh, Ryan Poles is good. Ryan Poles is good.
Oh, no, he's not going anywhere. But
I'm talking about how he handles press conferences.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
even when Courtney Cronin asked him about the 4 quotes, he said he did the Drewski. What do you mean by that?
So I think, and I thought Kevin Warren did a good job overseeing the. Yeah, True, and that's what I said. I thought part of it was good, part of it was. I think Kevin Warren did a solid job overseeing. Okay, I'm not going to say what you just said about him because I like to stay in this business.
What did he say? Oh, I didn't.
He called Pace a word. Ryan Pace, the old one. I'm the old Ryan.
Well, Ryan Pace, fucking Ryan Pace. What are you gonna do?
I like to. Who knows? He may join us on the show one day.
Joe don't like to rock the cradle. Not the cradle. That's not. Joe don't like to rock the boat. Whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's what it is.
But anyway,
Joe's not a disturber.
I like to build bridges. And if Ryan Poles said, "Hey, I want to come," Ryan Pace, so I want to come to you guys' podcast. We're going to talk. I'm going to help you guys with scouting. I'd be like, yeah. People, Bears fans would hate it, but the views. Anyway,
that would be Joe versus Ryan Pace.
Oh God.
Kevin
Warren. I like Kevin Warren. Pose and Flus, whatever.
Yeah, it's just I got to see it. Now here's the question. Everybody's been trying to put together. Well, Alex said I ain't watching that one. He said respectfully, shout out to you. But what do you think this person means for Justin? Like, there's I feel like I said, Ryan Poles does a good job of keeping the door open and giving that as a possibility. I keep switching. I think every week I'm gonna have a different opinion on what happens to Justin. I think right after the presser, I was like, nah, that motherfucker gone. But then as you see, more people talking about it, more people in the beat start feeling, that, maybe that they're going to keep him, especially the word they've been throwing out, continuity. If you're going to do continuity, then you keep Justin Fields. I
have a word from Steve that I want to say after you're done, because I thought Steve offered one of the most concise ways to look at it if he was a GM. So he said, last thing, bro, we didn't get DJ.
You notice how you said after I was done.
I know. Done. I just cut in. I'm so wrong.
But I feel like, at first I was like, he's gone. But then I started to think that he might be staying. I do think that, if you have certain members in the beat saying these things, especially people who, I'm not going to call them negative, but I wouldn't say they're not positive either. And they're saying things like, oh, I think Justin might be staying. They had my spidey senses tingling. My man JP posted something on his Instagram with and I ain't going nowhere, hate it or love it. But then JP said on 670 Score he don't know nothing. I don't know if JP is just saying that because he's on the radio and JP actually does know something. But I as of right now, if you ask me today, my opinion today is different than it was yesterday. If you ask me today, I think that they're going to keep Justin, because I don't know if you peeped. Ryan Poles said the same thing he said last year, but he just said it like in a real. It wasn't as loud as before. He did say that I had to be blown away to take quarterback. He said that again. So, and if you're talking about, we all know that Ryan Poles loves having more draft picks. Like even the pick they had last year, he traded down. When with the Darnell Wright trade. So he likes to multiply his picks. So this will be the ultimate multiplier. You know what I'm saying? The ultimate multiplier. If you thought what they got for Bryce Young was something, a Caleb Williams trade will feed nations. You understand me?
Yeah.
And on top of all that, I don't know if nobody peeped. Caleb ain't officially declared yet. I'm not saying he's not.
But he did.
No, he's not officially declared yet.
The nigga ain't playing that bowl game. He declared.
Yeah, he's gonna declare. I'm just saying he ain't declared yet. Marvin Harrison, but then again, Marvin Harrison Jr. just declared today. So
Marv, what up? What up?
Super
Did
Marv.
your thing in Columbus. You
Murder
held
Marv.
us down. You are the greatest Buckeye receiver in history. I have watched the Buckeyes since 96. Since I was a child, the first football game I ever saw was the Ohio State Buckeyes. I was like, I like that team in red. I've been down since then. You are the best receiver I've ever seen. But you know what take your career over the top?
The Bears.
Another Buckeye QB throwing to you.
So
hey. I'll see you at Halas Hall.
So that's just pretty much my opinion on it. As of right now, I think they keep Fields, but my opinion is going to change from this multiple times over the next couple months. Yeah. So you can say what Steve said now.
So if you know Steve's a part of the Three Wise Men. He's busy all the time, so it's hard to get him on. But we chat all the time. We would
Hold on, I gotta say something. I'm sorry. Danny says wide receivers are a dime a dozen. Okay, I have to say you just went on a whole generational route, Rent, for this.
I don't think that was him. That was somebody else.
No, that was him. No, that was him. It was him. It was him. And now you're gonna talk about the one generational talent that's in this draft is a dime a dozen.
No, the reason we say this is because, of course, back in the day, you wanted receivers that are tall. But then as you realize that
you gonna see his pop too. Who? I don't know who his pops is. I don't know
who is MHJ's pops.
Yeah, I don't know
who is Super Mario's pops. I never heard of that guy.
I never heard of
Can anybody in the chat tell me who Super Mario's pops is? I don't know who that is.
Is he like a steel mill worker? Like what does he do? Does he fix roofs?
I heard he might bang on the streets of Philly. I don't know anything about that.
I don't know why not. But go ahead.
No, okay. But I don't even know what I was saying. So I was cut off at the wide receiver. What was I saying?
Steve. Yeah.
So we were talking about, what you do with Justin, everything, and Caleb and all that. And he said, last thing, bro, we didn't get DJ for Caleb Williams. We got DJ for Justin. A veteran for a veteran. Komet extension, sure, handed down the familiarity for Justin. Even drafting right was for Justin. A right tackle. Not a bona fide left tackle for the future. That's what everybody fails to understand. Poe specifically brought in those guys for Justin. He was thinking about signing Caleb. He doesn't bring in DJ. He brings in a defensive superstar. Why? Because a strong defense can carry a rookie QB until he figures it out in year 2 or 3. With that being said, those are the reasons I think Poes will continue to build with Fields. Remember this text, G. It was funny because he had a similar text last season, I believe, toward the end of last season or toward the beginning, where he said, he's really hit on players. He said Dave Montgomery's been a good player. He said Darnell Wright was going to be a good player. He said the Bears are going to get themselves a number 1 wide receiver. So, of course, that's just his word as an opinion. But
he brings up a good point.
He brings up very good points.
And not just DJ Moore. You don't go all in and trade for Montez Sweat, give up that draft capital, then pay him for a rookie quarter. And like, I want to keep repeating myself. I do not think Caleb Williams is a bum. I do not think this kid isn't talented. I'm just saying you're putting a lot on him. You're putting a lot on him. You say he was a good man. You're putting a lot on Caleb, man. And that's just, and then we want to talk about expectations, man. I think my man DeMarco82 said this on Twitter. I don't want to. Let's just say that they do draft Caleb, right? Let's just say they draft Caleb. I don't want to hear if he's this great guy. I don't want to hear that he's a rookie shit when he struggles. Okay, I don't want to hear it. If he comes in, I want the fucking what they said he's gonna be. I want that, and I want that right away. Because if the team is great around him and they don't make it because he has thrown stuff that has not been as great, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It said, what do you say? AJ Brown, McLaurin, Debo. Well, yeah, of course. We're not saying that you can find great receivers in any round.
Oh, yeah, of course. But remember, you're naming 3 players on 3 different teams. Receivers.
I tell you, who did go top 5.
You know who comes a dime a dozen now? Running backs.
Yes, running backs come a dime a dozen.
A dime a dozen. When you say that, you're saying that it's plentiful. Wide receivers who are great are not plentiful. Running backs.
Resetting the QB. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. If I hear somebody say you have to pay Justin one more time, there's so many reasons why that is false. One, you have 2 years before you have to pay him. And then there's a little thing called the franchise tag. And on top of that, if he does become great, who gives a fuck about paying him? If he reaches the potential that you want to pay, that's money you enjoy paying.
Like I said, it ain't like running backs. It ain't running backs where you like, I don't want to pay him because I could get a nigga in the 7th round.
You got to pick up his 5th-year option and pay him. He's not going to get Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson money right now. He's going to get a nice team-friendly deal if they give him an extension right now. And if he actually, and then we talk about rookie scale, if Caleb stinks, it don't matter what his rookie scale is because Ryan Pohl's not going to be here to see it. Yeah. And that's another thing, too. We need to Ryan Pohl's job security, not just for GMs, but for black GMs. If he fucks this up, he ain't never getting another job. I can tell you that shit right now.
No. So I think so before you're talking about I don't think resetting the QB clock is here, but you have Justin for 1 more year. And if Justin were to ball out and throw like 30 touchdowns, 9 picks, run for 600, 700 yards, you're like, okay, you'll get a team-friendly deal. You ain't getting a big boy deal, but you'll get a team-friendly deal. That's all. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't. It's tough for a rookie quarterback. Like I said, they draft Caleb. Okay, Caleb, welcome to Halas Hall. Let's see what you can do. It's just a tough situation because if you draft Caleb, or if you go back, draft May or somebody else, and you get yourself some talent around there, Caleb will have less of an excuse than Justin had because he will inherit a much better team. He will inherit if they get a wide receiver with him, he'll have two very good wide receivers. In addition to that, he'll have a good running game and a solid defense. That's a tough position to put him in, but he wouldn't have an excuse. In terms of, I just think it makes more sense to keep Justin. But once again, I talked to my colleague Eric. Eric teaches with me. He's from Morgan Park. He was like, none of these guys blow me away. If there was a Joe Burrow in this draft, get Justin out of here. It would be a no-brainer. If there was a Trevor Lawrence in the draft, I would still understand drafting him over Justin. Those would be no-brainers. That's the whole point. The reason I say all this is because they're not no-brainers. They're not no-brainers. And in this draft, I think I need two good QBs who I think can make some noise. The rest of everybody else, I'm not picking till maybe the second round. I mean, you have, of course, Caleb. You have Drake May, and you have Jaden Daniels. That's about it. I ain't taking Bo Nix in that round. I ain't taking Penix in the first round.
You ain't taking Michael Penix Gerard. You're not taking him?
No, I'm not taking any of those dudes in the first round. So like that's the whole point. It's not a deep quarterback draft. It's not a deep quarterback draft. People like to say it's a deep receiver draft. It's a very deep receiver draft, but there's only one generational talent. Going back to the generational talent, running backs are dime a dozen, not wide receivers are not dime a dozen. In addition to that, somebody who has MHJ's stature and his speed and his quickness and his ability. He's 6'3". Jamar Chase and those, you're starting to see wide receivers who are a little bit shorter. They tend to be a little more quicker, but they also have good hands, athletic ability. But then you add the fact that he's also 6'3", which means the jump ball becomes easier for him. He can do all those things, but the jump ball is easy. In addition to that, he's a very solid downfield blocker. Like, those things make him generational. I have not seen a wide receiver prospect with his stature like that in quite a while. That's a generational talent. That's a player I go, I don't think you can miss on Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think you can. You miss on him, you put yourself in a world of hurt. My thought.
Lord, JJ McCarthy is a captain. We fuck with Cap, man. Shout out to Cap. Shout out to Cap. Take that.
Lord have mercy. This is what Luke Longley looks like.
Yeah, his first time in Chicago in a decade. Who invited John Sally to? Oh, because they doing the 96 Bulls. I was about to say, like, who the fuck? Anyway, no disrespect to John Sally. I fuck with John Sally. Best damn sports show period was my shit. But I think that's all we got. I'm trying to do. There's nothing else on the rundown for us to talk about, man. They interviewing a couple offensive coordinators.
I didn't talk about what the presser means for Justin.
Yeah. That's what you
don't believe any of it until it happens. That's my comment.
That is a good way to say it because a lot of people are gonna be telling me what they heard. But the Bears interviewed Shane Waldron, who's offensive coordinator in Seattle. I saw a lot of Seahawks fans saying y'all don't want him. If you think DJ Moore is doing screens now, wait till Shane Waldron has them doing screens. I don't know. And then also today they interviewed 49ers passing game coordinator Clean Kubiak. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see how that process goes. Is there any specific offensive coordinator, that you want to look at? I still want them to give Eric Bieniemy an interview.
I think Eric Bieniemy has proven himself enough, but I don't know if there's a plan for him to become the head coach.
He's not getting the head coach. Magic said they're looking for actual. Magic said no to Bill Belichick. They said they don't even want Bill Belichick.
Oh, I wouldn't hire Bill Belichick either.
So they said they're going to do a search. I'm keep telling people this right now.
I know why.
Go ahead.
I know why. Let me talk. What was his name?
Ace.
Ace, let me talk to you. The NFL has forgotten the importance of the run game. It's to the point where if you're 3rd and 1 from the 1, you think, I need to throw. No, you need to line your ass up in that I form. You need to pound in the rock. But the truth is, it's the run game. We have so much want to become the air raid league that we forgot the convenience of the run game, but also positionally the run game. There's a reason why you should line up with the running back in the backfield quarterback under center for good run plays. Why? Because that running back,
man,
because that running back gets a head start.
Don't get started. You're going to start ranting about Wimby and his rebounds.
Because that running back gets a head start. He catches the ball already in stride, gets himself a little bit more momentum as from starting with shotgun, and he has to grab it and then go. That's why. Things that used to be simple, we now make it difficult because we need to pass. We don't need to do that. Because at the end of the day, if I realize all you have to do is pass the ball, what am I going to do? Either I'm going to get to you quick, or I'm going to
run a wishbone.
either I'm going to get to you quick, or I'm going to sit back there and get a coverage sack. That is the truth. The run game. I was talking to my homies in my group chat, and we were talking about Kubiak, who was in charge of the Vikings offense 2021, and we look at the comment from Justin Jefferson and said, "Oh man, that was an old school game. You know, we need a little bit of something fresh." The same year, he had 1,600 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. But you also know what they had? 250 carries for Dalvin Cook, who rushed for over 1,000 yards. Mattingly had almost 500 yards with 180 carries.
Why are the 49ers so good? Christian McCaffrey. That's how a white man runs the football. That's why they're so fucking good.
We just have to get back to having the run game come in more opportune times. I don't want to see a run-dominated league anymore. No. The time is done. I want to see the ball pass. But if you start passing in things that are not necessary, you make it harder. It's so hard to pass the ball in 3rd and 1 from the 1. It is so difficult because there are very few options on that field. But you know what is tough? When I line up on that down and I get you 4 times down your throat. In the words of my man, Coach Sean Sierra, he was my the defensive coach at Cary.
Stop running pussy plays.
He said, "What's going on? We just got to get him and run it down the throat."
Stop running pussy plays.
Shout out to Coach Sierra. You just got to run it down the throat.
It said flows.
That's what I'm talking about. It's funny. When somebody rushed for 30 carries, you're like, wow, that was a pretty big game. No, in 2002, that was a regular game. Sorry.
Oh man, don't get him started on his old school. But finish up what you said. That's all you have to say about what it means for Justin. Is don't trust anything until you hear from a legit source, which we know people are not going to follow for these next couple months. I will say this. I think the offensive coordinator search is going to be wrapped up pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if they have one this time next week. And then I think he's going to do what he did last year. I think he's going to do full evaluation, like he hasn't been doing. All right. I think Ryan Poles knew that he was going to have the first draft pick for a couple months now. They're also going to have to find a new assistant GM because it looks like Ian Cunningham might be the new general manager in Washington with Magic Johnson over there. So shout out to Ian. That means third round pick coming for the Bears. But I do think after the combine is when you're going to see some shit move. Now, Ryan Poles said, "Oh, I'm willing to go into April with this." That means nigga, the price of the brick going up. That's all that shit means. That this shit is not going to April because somebody who wants to trade for Justin wants to have Justin they building already, and then they'll know what they got to draft in an upcoming draft. And the Bears, if they're going to move along with Caleb, they want to get Caleb in the building and things like that, and get in preparation when they need to build the best team around Caleb. And I will say this. About the situation. He said, "Man, I can't wait for the draft either. It's gonna be big. It's in Detroit. Shout out to Detroit, man. Shout out to Detroit. You know what I'm hyped about it being Detroit? We don't have to pay for a fucking hotel because we got family out there.
Family's there.
And so, but I'm looking
Detroit for starters.
Yeah, Detroit. Yes, I know we pay for Detroit because we Chicago niggas. But
I was in Trenton, New Jersey. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Does Detroit look like New York City? It looks like Broadway. It looks like everything compared to that. Trenton is the worst place I've ever been to in my life. Never again.
He said, "When I see the Shefty tweet, another case with 3 first-round picks, I'm trading. I'm buying all the Latino shorties in Chicago Echo Limit hoodies." That's funny as shit.
Okay.
that's funny as shit. But that's pretty much, man, all we got for y'all today. Oh, no, this is what I was going to say before we go up. What I was going to say is I'm finna do the was it Rodney King? Why can't we just all get along? Or shout out my man Greg Bags Jr. Bragg's always saying he wants to bring Bears Twitter back together. But whether it's Justin or it's Caleb, at least for me, I'm speaking for Scott Lewis. If it's Justin, it's back to the regular thing. We still ride my man. It don't matter where the hell Justin go. I'm riding with Justin. I've been a fan of Justin since QB1. I watch hella documentaries on Netflix. So before I even seen that nigga hoop, I'm not, play. I saw him on that documentary, and as you see, he's doing the Ohio OH. It's a rough week for y'all to be doing that this week.
OHIO. Disrespect.
But and if it's Caleb, I'm putting all my faith behind Caleb, and I hope he plays well because we want the Bears to play well. At the end of the day, all these arguments we have is because we want the Bears to get better. If everybody's saying, "Oh, I'm leaving this team," stop fucking lying. You're not leaving the team. You're not leaving the fucking team whatsoever. You
I'm
might
talking
be
to you, Darius 312. You don't be with the guys.
Shout out to the homie Darius.
Darius, come on the pod and chat with us, bro. You're hilarious.
Lenore said, "Hail."
You ain't a Michigan fan. I'm tired of it. We was playing Call of Duty, and he was like, "Man, I see you."
Archman, they transferring to Michigan.
I told him, "What do they say after hell? Hell to the what?" He couldn't answer.
The Archman and transfer is gonna get close to heart
Mike
attack.
Hart getting stuffed by the Buckeyes back in the day. I want him.
What do you feel about that? If Archman goes to Michigan,
that's a rough day. That's not a good day for me.
Especially if Arch goes to the Big Blue.
First off, there were talks about him.
You talking for 13 brothers? I don't care who understand that.
When it comes to I would hate if Arch Manning went to Michigan. I ain't gonna hate. I'm not even gonna hate because Arch Manning, I think he's an insane prospect. I would be so upset because that's
Arch
the one
Manning
thing.
is Arch Manning like that scene on Chappelle show. He said the Wayans got it. It's Marvel.
Like, I don't want to. But hey, Arch, you ain't gonna watch this, but if you do, I'll see you in Columbus.
Okay. All right. Is there anything you want to say before we get up out of here? Okay.
That's what I have to say.
Okay. Did you cry on Monday night?
No, because the Packers did it to the Bears. They've been doing it for a long time. I guess it's just a new era. Because Ryan Day don't want to man up. I saw us beat freaking Michigan for the majority of my life. Justin undefeated at them. Dwayne Haskins used to toss them in a blender, but now they little boy in us. We little brother now. It's crazy. We don't even run the Big Ten no more. Big Ten's gonna be a bloodbath next year. Woo! Ooh! It's Oregon and Washington come to Big Ten.
Yeah, ain't
Big Ten football. It's real football, brother.
Colorado coming too?
No.
Where Colorado going?
I don't know. Whatever crappy conference thing.
Okay, nigga. I think Colorado going to Big Ten, ain't it?
No.
Somebody find out where Colorado going.
They're still in the Big 12.
That's the Big 12. That's who it is. Big 12.
We don't do Colorado around the Big 10 here, brother. It's
Ryan
real,
Day
man.
was tougher on Lou Holtz.
It's true. It's true. It's true. He was like, "Where's Lou Holtz?" I'm like, he's old.
Where's Lou Holtz at right now? The nigga sleep. It was 10 p.m. That's what that nigga's at.
Arch Manning, I'll see you in Columbus. That's what I have to say.
That's all we got for y'all tonight, man. We appreciate y'all, everybody, who commented. Even if we don't agree with y'all, we appreciate y'all going back and forth with us, listening to the podcast. Thank you for another season.
Oh yeah, because to the dude who say, the Patriots and all that. Thank you for even commenting with us.
Yeah, well, it was no disrespect. It was no disrespect.
I appreciate the conversation.
It was just friendly banter. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate you, everybody watching. We just wrapped up season 9, so we'll be getting to season 10 of this fucking podcast. Should be exciting. Yeah, of course, during the regular season, we record periodically. If there's something big happening, we'll talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So get ready for those off-season pods, and of course the draft coming up, and anything that may not be enough for a podcast. We gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna hold you, and we just gonna have flows come on. He said, if you can't take the banter pod, not only is the pod not for you, if you can't take the banter, the network ain't for you. We'll go even further. If you can't take,
I'm just saying,
take care. So for me and for Flows, man, we appreciate everybody who's tuned in, going back and forth with us. So yeah, man, that's all we got for y'all. To follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarberChair Scott. To follow Flows at Flows Andolini. Visit the Patreon right now, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. Get everything on there. Of course, you can follow the Barbers Chair Network at Barbers Chair Net on Twitter and Instagram. Follow 79th and Halas at 79th and Halas. And next time we'll holler, we'll probably do something. We're going to do something when offensive coordinator gets hired. Probably like a little, maybe not. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to hold you. So, for sure. We'll figure out when it's gonna be. So for Scott and for Flows, we about here, man. We out.
7 night for Halas, what it is, what it do. Since Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis, know that we been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news.